Good afternoon, everyone. I know we are behind schedule and we are in between you and your lunch. We'll try to make it interesting so that you don't feel starved. At the same time, we'll try to wrap it up. So I'll give you a little bit of context. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be talking to my colleagues who I've known at least for the last year and a half, I would say, since I've joined IIB. The context is obviously, I've taken some notes. I've been listening to some of the presenters, the panel discussions. Insurance for All 2047, that seems to be revolving around for the past at least a couple of years. Also, IIB, the Insurance Information Bureau, somebody was saying lots of expectations from this industry. Penetration is still under 4%. So what is IIB? How is that? Not only we are helping IRD, supporting IRD in terms of the insights that are required, at the same time helping about 58 insurance companies that are operating today, both PSUs and of course private. What do we do? How do we help them? How IIB can become the glue to the industry? And what are the challenges that they are facing? How do we partner with them? We are a non-profit, just to let you know. We have been operating in the stealth mode, I would say, for the last 12 years. We are coming out of our, I think, spreading our wings right now. And at the same time, I think, looking at both life and general, they're going through different journeys as we look at this whole penetration across India. And we will talk about some of the challenges, how technology, the good thing is, we do have a good mix of panel members here, right? Of course, they didn't mention that they're going to shoot some questions at me as well, so I'm prepared for it. Now, I have represented by both, private and PSU. Kallol is with the national and Mukul with Access Private. So you'll get both perspectives in terms of how we are partnering with them. Since we are a non-profit, while we have a what I call as an arm's length distance between how we support IRD in terms of shaping regulations, shaping policies, what insights we provide them. But we have a huge responsibility to help grow these 58 insurance companies with a profitability and underwriting, and of course, fraud at various stages, whether it's underwriting, distribution, or even at claims. So we'll touch upon those and how technology is going to play a much, much larger role. So with that context, again, welcome to both of you. Thank you for being here. So first, I think I'll take some notes. Let me start off with Kallol. Since you're part of the PSU, I'm sure you have lots of, the industry is expecting a lot from you as well. Now, since the topic is about agility, infrastructure is changing rapidly. You have the accountability to drive both the internal digitization at national and also the digitalization across your products portfolio. So how do you see balancing this between the growth, the expectations, and of course, partnering for infrastructure scale?
Am I audible? Pretty loaded question to start with. So, lot of keywords came up as a part of that question. One is digital. I could hear agility. I could hear scalability, right? So, traditional insurers like us, we, without exception, we usually have relied on our data centers for IT infrastructure. And of late, we have started some hybrid cloud journey, most of us, right? In comparison to the, our peers who are digitally born. So they had the power of the cloud from the beginning. But now, we have a legacy baggage. We have made significant investment in our legacy IT infrastructure, which we cannot ditch just like that, right? So we need to justify the investment already made. Now, looking at such a position, one reality is digital. And when we say digital, few technologies that are coming up, which impact IT infrastructure a big way, is AI and Gen AI, Now, the question comes like when we talk about data, when you talk about AI and Gen AI, is our legacy infrastructure sufficient to provide the agility we require, to provide the scalability we require? So, first of all, if I just take a step back and go back to basics, what is agility? One very quick example, and some speakers earlier have explained it already, speed to market, right? Starting from conceptualizing a product to the time we start selling it through our various systems of engagement, how fast this can be. And also agility, one is the product development part of it, making product to distribution part of it. Another part is the claim processing, agility in claim processing, agility in policy servicing. So all of this require one thing, and since we are talking about infrastructure here, is significant compute power and significant storage power, right? So having mentioned that, I think the first step in order to assess the agility need and the scalability need is to study our as-is IT infrastructure, where we stand today, and look at it in the light of the digital transformation or the digital projects that are there in the pipeline. And what changes do I need in IT infrastructure to support those projects? Some companies may have a very aggressive AI pipeline, AI strategy. Some companies might not. I have seen some of my peers who believe like Gen AI is really a hype. I have heard it from some of my peers. So if some company decide that I'll not be part of the wave, AI is hype, Gen AI is hype, so I'm happy with what I have today. So they will have one strategy. But otherwise, you need to think of how you can modernize your IT infra, taking a step like at a time, like first an as-is study, and that as-is study should not include only about your storage and compute, but also network. That is a very, very important piece about how you modernize your network. So traditionally, legacy insurers has wide area network, right? That's how data traffic was from the branches pan India to the data center. So from there, the first step we are taking, and as one of the first public sector general insurance company, we are now in the process of implementing SD-WAN. So that is a software defined wide area network that really gives me a better bandwidth. I can define the bandwidth by software. So by having said that, the next step, that is not enough. So SD-WAN may be an intermediate step. Talking about future and future readiness, we need to think of technology like SASE. So Secure Access Service Edge, right? Where your compute and where your network and security comes closer to the edge. So it's no longer a data center to traffic backhauling, like from branch to traffic backhauling to the data center, but like your connectivity will lie in a cloud, security and network together in a SASE architecture. So that's the kind of future in terms of network security we are talking about. And scalability, talking about both agility and scalability, one very easy answer is think of a cloud, right? That can give you enormous computing power, but that comes at a cost. So you need to do a trade-off about how much of your workload you can move to a cloud, maybe a public cloud, maybe a private cloud also. So as I mentioned, like in order to remain practical, all of us have a hybrid cloud strategy going forward. And we have started that journey already. Like we are moving some of our applications to public cloud, some to private cloud, and some will remain on-premise. So so the power or the scalability is like how I make the best use of my infra. In public cloud, it is very easy. Auto scaling, you just ticket and you get auto scaling features of simple configuration. Not so easy in private cloud or on-premise data center, right? So I would say like it's a combination of all of it. Judge where you are today, look at your technology projects or the modernization plan, and then decide on what modernization is needed, what applications you need to move to cloud and how. Look at the 4R strategy of migration also.
So we talked about the foundation being infrastructure. Actually, you'll have to build on top of it in terms of what the end consumers, in this case, question to you, Mukul, when you look at all the demand that is coming in terms of real-time, approvals, real-time claims processing, what are challenges that you see? Because today we are battling with a lot of data quality issues, right from the source, and then generate a lot of analytics. But at the same time, the consumers are expecting that they want outcomes and the output both, almost in real time. So at Max's XLife, could you talk a little bit about how you are approaching this whole real-time requirements, the additional demand that is placed, and what is the kind of frameworks that you're looking at?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for being invited here, and thank you for the question. Interesting question. We at Axis Max Life have been on a data modernization journey for quite some time. We are a very well-established data lakehouse architecture on one of the public cloud, and absolutely the problems that you talked about, data quality, real time, and how do you ensure in-journey, real-time responses, decisions to our customers, to our distributors, to our employees. So what we have done at the starting point itself is identified use cases. There are certain use cases which needs real-time, and there are use cases which don't need real-time requirements. So OLTP and OLAP use cases were segregated. And this data architecture, data lakehouse architecture that we have set up, it fetches data from our core systems. In fact, our core system is also on one of the public cloud. So getting real-time data is not necessarily a problem, and of course, then it's an issue of the cost and the compute power that you would need. What we have done is deployed a very strong data governance model where we have data observability, data lineage, and data integrity being incorporated as part of the data engineering pipeline itself. So it took us 2.5 years in this journey. We got it wrong a lot of time. There were reconciliation issues as we started ingesting this data. And one of the other things is earlier our data was always 1 day old, and now the data is available even few minutes old or few seconds old. And when you're getting this kind of a data and somebody's reconciling, the data has changed. And when you're trying to match this, there's always a gap. So what we have done is all our APIs have now moved to this OLTP infrastructure, and they are powered from there. And then for all the business reporting and transactional reporting, we have taken a 1 hour snapshot data around it. And this data accuracy and data observability, while we don't have a very well-established tool around it, but we have created automation scripts and mechanism by which we ensure this data is not stale, has the required data integrity, and we can use it reliably. And if there is a lag or there is an issue in the data, that's preemptively told to us and as the business users, so that we don't use that data. It's an ongoing journey. It's still not over, and there are a lot more data integrations that we are going to do. There's a whole lot of data in the Bharat stack we are leveraging in, and we are working with you, IIB, to get a lot of data, and there are a lot of data products that you have. So the journey is not over, but I think we have made strong strides in this space, and in fact now this data is powering a lot of GenAI use cases. We have a GenAI use case where our email responses, sentiment, intent, and even a response with actual integration with our backend system is going to be powered through this data. So lot of work done, but still a lot of work to be done. Can I flip a question to you now? I see IIB is the real glue in terms of data in the industry, and you said 58 organizations. So how do you manage this? Because data is coming from a disparate sources, different organizations must be sending different quality of data, and IIB is very important because we use it for our fraud detections and other perspective. So how is IIB looking at data, and how are you looking forward to take data as a product for the industry to greater heights?
So yesterday I got into Mumbai for a life insurance council meeting. So just focusing on life, we talked about the tsunami of data within life insurance. Until last year, we were collecting data at the country level for one line of business within life. I think it was individual life. So we had 6 lines of businesses added, including PM, JJBY. So the data growth that we talked about was an eye-opener for us as well at IIB. So we were last year at 35 crores worth of policies, life alone, barring general. Yesterday, we presented to Life Insurance Council that is going all the way up to 160,000 crores. So this tsunami, I understand your question, because at a country level, it's massive. Of course, the penetration level, you see, we're still under. But the volume of data, the kind of data that we're getting, there's a much stronger need to do standardize. Now, you're right. Until last year, we used to get data in probably any format. Somebody used to come to our website, upload a file, an Excel file. I'm talking in a layman's language. They would come to a portal and they just upload a file. And that file could have even any kind of data or valuable data. It could be even junk data as well. So last year, we took a call that, we have to standardize this. That's when we started to build APIs, at least for the general insurance. And then life is still undergoing that. So we standardize a lot of data fields. If I talk about motor in the general, we collect data almost 400 records in 1 minute in IIB. So the kind of infrastructure that we've ramped up, including heavy capex spend in the last 1 year, has been significantly higher than what we have spent in the last 12 years of existence. So yes, I think the demand is being placed. So we'll have to weather the demand, and we are ready for it. So I think we are significantly ramping up our infrastructure, our analytical capabilities, because we have to work with 3 different ministries to give the same data. It's just not about Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Road Transport and Highways as well. So getting ready, it's not an easy journey, but yes, now we know that there's going to be tsunami of data coming in. So thank you for the question. I'll switch gears a little bit. I think we just have few more seconds left. Let's talk about DPDP Act. The draft rules are out. I would like to understand, both from a PSU perspective, you have your own set of challenges. Private, you have your own set of challenges. And then we have this target of insurance for all by 2047. How do we balance, while the distribution focus has to go significantly higher, while safeguarding with a lot of guardrails in terms of data privacy, especially on the digital side of it? We can talk about both of you if you can share.
I can start, sir. So what we have done, we have been seeing these draft rules which have been in the public domain for quite some time, and we have started preparing for it. Actually, I think one of the panel talked about data. Indians don't necessarily look at our private data in the same fashion that a lot of first developed organizations look at. And when we looked at ours, we have a data privacy officer now. And as she's leading this program within the organization, we did we are doing a function by function assessment of what kind of data the function uses and whether that data is really required. And to our surprise, when we did this exercise, pretty much across the functions, we could figure it out. 60-70% of reports, MISs, data requests that they were having didn't needed the PII information to be shared with them. So it's a large scale education exercise, first of all, because nobody really understands why do you need a mobile number or a email number or a age or date of birth for an individual in the report, which is for business reporting. And that exercise is already underway. We are also working on certain technology tools like data classification tools, which will help us codify data which needs to be protected, and then only restricted people will be allowed access to that data. It's an onerous regulation, but I think it's the step in the right direction. It will make us better. It will make our handling of data better. And I think there is a lot of data which was going from our organizations to our support ecosystem, which is our processing partner, third-party administrators and everyone. The entire chain will become a lot more sensitive, and we are doing our job around it. And education is the biggest pole in the tent, in my mind, for implementing this kind of a regulation.
Am I audible? So we have what we have started. Number one is the draft rule. We did a very thorough analysis of the draft rules with a core team we have formed with our CISO and our security team members. We have already shared the comments with DFS about what we feel about the draft rules. Some serious thought have started on consent. If you take a national insurance, and also masking, if you take a national insurance policy today using any of our portals, you will see like the PII data comes masked. So we have started that already. The next step is data discovery. So we have started planning how to do the data discovery. These are generally tool driven, and so we are at the onset of starting the project. So just waiting for further guidance from Meti on this, which direction it will go. We are all set to start a project on this. Yeah, thanks.
Good. Thanks for one last. Yeah. So this is very interesting for both of you. Now, emerging technologies. How are you looking at some of these to embrace, whether it is underwriting, distribution for claims, or even for fraud prevention? And how do you think that this is going to shape up? Of course, there could be some disruptions as well. I think we heard about the DeepSeek as well. Are you embracing some of those? And how do you look at some of these frameworks that you will be putting in place?
May I start? Okay. Before talking about actual technologies, I'm talking about architecture principle that we are adopting. And that is, many of you know, that is called MACH principle, MACH, which is microservices, stands for API first, C is cloud native, and A is headless. So that is the direction in which we are looking for our emerging technology roadmap. And talking about emerging technology per se, there is a real convergence of technologies we are witnessing. And if I have to talk about three areas, these are data, cloud, and AI, Gen AI, and advanced analytics, a combination of that. So this convergence, we are working on this convergence model. And there are a number of use cases which are actually common for some are common with GI and life both. Like claim processing, we are already actively using AI in claim processing. And then fraud detection, that is another area. We have started a very ambitious advanced analytics project, and AI remains a key pillar of that project. So I think looking at the time, I'll just pass it for now. Yeah.
He already covered a lot of data use cases. I'll just use one use case which is not necessarily data linked. We are using metaverse, and it has been emerging for last 3-4 years, but we are using metaverse for our employee onboarding. So what we saw is that employee, when they come in, the connection with the organization and the leaders wasn't there because they were just joining in some remote location and getting a very classroom training, which was also digitally enabled. So now we have a metaverse, digital metaverse of the organization where the CEO, the CPO, the operations head and different functions introduce their functions and onboard this employee in a more personalized fashion. And the initial results were fantastic, and we are scaling it up to all new employee joinings. And on the data side, of course, a lot of things on Jain AI models, and we are a cloud-first organization. 78% of our workload is on 3 public clouds today, as we speak about. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think we will wrap it up. Thanks to the audience for being very patient. I think being
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
to
you,
the panel
gentlemen.
members as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you. What an enlightening session. Thank you, Alec.